Modern costuming does not get the credit it deserves. While it's often rebuffed as just showing whatever is popular at the moment, modern costume decisions can reflect character and story progression, as well as being a part of the story. You can tell when effort is put in every decision. While plenty of films have their trademark moments, being the fashions, 1961's Breakfast at Tiffany's set the standard for modern costume design. This movie is renowned as a famously stylish film, but when it came out, the aesthetic choices were simultaneously very on-trend and ahead of its time. Intrinsic costume design was nothing new, but Breakfast at Tiffany's was one of the first major Hollywood pictures to rely on a high-end designer, Givenchy, instead of using the studio wardrobe department. The styling choices of Holly Golightly reflected her personality and timely cultural landscape, and at least in the 2010s, became a renowned poster girl in Pinterest boards and on the walls of millions of girls' bedrooms. I feel like the idea of the Pinterest girl kind of started with Holly Golightly. She has all the traits that they embody. Holly Golightly represented a changing landscape. While she very much incorporated timely elegance, there was still a sense of rebellion in her style, winking at the youthquake that was just around the corner. How did she evoke this exactly? We're going to look into the styles of Holly Golightly. So now, let's get started. Audrey Hepburn met Hubert Givenchy for the first time on the set of Sabrina. Since then, he'd be the main stylist for her personal fits and designer of 6 future Hepburn films, including Tiffany's. Initially, Holly Golightly was envisioned to be played by Marilyn Monroe. She turned it down when acting coach Lee Strasberg told her that playing a lady of the evening would be bad for her image. The role was first offered to Shirley MacLaine and Kim Novak, although both ultimately declined. While Holly Golightly is currently Audrey Hepburn's most iconic role, believe it or not, she was playing against type. Before Tiffany's, in films like Roman Holiday, Sabrina, Funny Face, amongst others, Audrey Hepburn was typecasted as girlish, romantic ingenues, basically a Disney princess in real life. Playing a free-spirited, partying socialite/sugar baby was definitely steering her in a different direction. This portrayal of a more scandalous character was sort of a proto-Britney, Miley, Chloe, Sabrina, oh my god, she's so provocative now type of thing. For this era, it was rare to see a character that felt so real like Holly. She was messy, unsure of herself, and tries to repress her not-so-perfect side for the sake of image. Really, she was a normal person. But she still has a magnetic aura, and a lust for life. She'll never let anybody put her in a cage. This is all carried over to her sense of style. Breakfast at Tiffany's begins in the very early hours of Midtown Manhattan, where Holly has her breakfast of coffee and a croissant, contently looking through the windows of a Tiffany & Co. store. It's her happy place. She wears a floor-length black dress with embroidery on the back, opera gloves, and a Roger Skimama layered necklace and tiara. This is an example of how American fashion was starting to take even more Parisian influences. She looks aristocratic, especially with the gloves. But there's still playfulness here. With a small tiara, she's gonna have her princess fantasies. She lives in Midtown Manhattan, and gets to do basically whatever she wants for most of the day. And then there's the layered pearl necklace. Pearls traditionally evoke old money refinement, but the exaggerated size hints that she's only living a fantasy of wealth. She's around upper-class people and gets gifts from them, but isn't truly a part of that circle. She borrows motifs from old money style, but in amplifying them, she transforms them into something uniquely her own. But I think what adds the timeless cool factor is her large Oliver Goldsmith sunglasses, known as the Manhattan, which were custom-made for this film, and would become highly sought after. This adds a more casual contemporary feel in this otherwise formal look. She'd wear these glasses several times in this film. They're kind of her emotional support blanket. While these glasses are very stylish and modern, they hide how she truly feels. It's like emotional distance, but make it fashion. Aside from the emotional aspects, they show that Holly is too laid back and bohemian to care about looking super pristine, giving off a type of beatnik brand of aloofness. This wasn't the first little black dress on screen, but it's definitely one of the most iconic. This is what people think of when they hear LBD. And I can't say how many times this look has been referenced. Right when she finally gets some sleep, she wakes up to her neighbor and cat, named Cat, that reminds me of Victorious, whose real name was Orangey. She has her famous sleep mask, another way for her to cover her eyes. But it's one of those fun design ones, showing her love of whimsy. Mine says Sweet Dreams. Iconic costume designer Edith Head supervised the costumes, but she also designed the more casual and pedestrian looks. But yeah, even her PJs are iconic. She also has earplugs, and you just know she's not going to have boring generic earplugs. They have tassels on them. There's something 1920s about it. This is a must-have if you live in a city like New York. She immediately has to get ready for a meeting, and she puts on another LBD, but a little shorter for day wear, and a large hat with a dramatic silk bow with her trademark Manhattan shades. The simple use of black and white evokes something cosmopolitan, while also signaling worldliness. She can wear this exact fit in Paris, Milan, and still be the epitome of style. Fashion was just beginning to steer away from Dior's new look, introduced in 1947, which defined 1950s fashion ideals of a lush, romantic silhouette. This hourglass dress style would also be used as a symbol of domesticity. Holly, on the other hand, was metropolitan and independent. Her go-to silhouette is slim-fitting with straight lines. Her Parisian influences gave audiences something new and exciting, and for the rest of 1960s American aesthetics, there was a fascination with everything French and British. Holly also has timely accessories like a pillbox hat, which didn't seem to return at all after the mid-60s. But of course, she adds a black and white feather for extra flair. She'd also be ahead of her time with her love of loud statement jewelry, which would be in vogue just a few years later. Her outfits alone are pretty simple. She lets her accessories do all the talking. One of her other trademarks is her cigarette holder. It's reminiscent of 1920s flappers, who use these accessories to make smoking a glamorous theatrical gesture. That doesn't mean you should pick up on smoking, it's extremely bad. But like flappers, Holly combines elegance with playful defiance. Aside from the smoking thing, virtually nothing she wears looks outdated. Holly's style truly never went out. In one of her more emotionally vulnerable moments, she has on a trench coat and headscarf, which is stylish today. She sometimes has theme days, like in the morning she has on her orange robe, which is the exact shade as Kat. Oh, what is this? Did you see that? And she later put on a vibrant orange coat with a brown Givenchy clutch hat, which were basically an early, more formal version of bucket hats. This was the first time in years when she walked in New York during the morning, at least after her normal bedtime of 6 a.m. Again, we see her being ahead of her time. The mink hat and vibrant orange straight-line coat predates swinging 60s London. Probably her most eye-catching look is what she wears on a date. She wears a hot pink jewel dress with a bow in the middle, a matching tiara and shawl, with her white sequined bag going with her cigarette holder. This look is very girlish and comparatively less refined than her usual style. She reaches her breaking point, finding that her brother passed away. This is the biggest contrast between her outwardly glamorous life and her inner loneliness. I guess this shows her not really being herself. Holly Golightly likes to add playfulness to her style, but until now, she never really looked like a Barbie doll. She's having an identity crisis. Holly Golightly isn't her real name. It's not even her real character. She wanted to scrub off any remnants of her simple small-town background to where she isn't sure of who she is today. But likely for the bright color and sparkles, this dress was reused for the Elvis film Tickle Me. Holly is willing to go all the way to Rio to live with her boyfriend, hoping that he'd marry her, even though he never mentioned anything about that. But he is her first non-rat romance, she says. This is a simple fit, but I am feeling her faux turtleneck. Her twin tails were also very chic, but as the rain pours, she loses Kat, finds him, and finds her true love. And this was one of the first modern-style romantic comedies, while also setting the standards for movies where fashions are a part of the story. The style in Breakfast at Tiffany's lasted so long because they're timeless and set a standard for elegance without appearing stuffy. You can be sophisticated and still have fun. Holly Golightly also helped create the image of the modern Pinterest girl. Like the women you may see scrolling on social media today, she was effortlessly stylish, aspirational, and a little mysterious. It wasn't just the clothes, it was her aura. While she wasn't born into a life of luxury, she creates it herself through imagination and personal touches. She's not an out-of-touch diva. She's aspirational, but still someone you can be. Her quirks, vulnerability, and emotional honesty make her someone audiences can relate to, and even imagine themselves being. And at best, taking an approach to life like how she does is just fun. The fantasy of being out in a glamorous city, wearing a stylish outfit, showing your individuality, being confident is so intriguing. This is how life is meant to be. When we think of Marilyn Monroe, we think of Lorelei Lee. And when we think of Dorothy Dandridge, we think of Carmen Jones. Audrey Hepburn's image keeps going back to that black Givenchy dress, now one of the most recognized images in American cinema and embodiment of early 60s style. And that's all I have for the fashion in Breakfast at Tiffany's. Which one is your favorite? Check out my Patreon. I will be posting new stuff on there, I promise. But check out my short lifestyle audiobooks that you can't find on YouTube. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one.